Thomas, it's up for grabs now. Thomas.
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira.
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it.
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
Champions.
Good evening, everyone at home. This is the Arsenal Lounge, and this is Real Talk. It's exciting today. I'm excited. We've got the full team together, finally. So let's, without any further ado, let's just crack on, shall we? Firstly, the only man that can pull off this do better than me, Mr. Lee Judges. How are you, mate? Welcome, finally, to the team.
Good, thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a while. Obviously, like I was meant to come on a few weeks ago, but obviously circumstances. But yeah, I'm all good. Raring to go, like, you know. So, well, saying that, I probably was before Sunday, but was it Sunday? Yeah, it was Sunday. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Sunday.
Well, hold that thought, Lee. Hold that thought, mate. Obviously, hold it. And obviously, doesn't need much introduction. He's got more hair on his chin than I have on my head. Turkish, how are you, bro?
I'm good, Lev. I'm good. How are you? How's Shaheen? How's it going?
Yeah, very good, man. Very good. Thanks for coming.
No worries.
Good that you're asking us that today and not Sunday. And obviously, everyone knows the co-host, my colleague, the Iranian, Mr. Shaheen. How are you?
Yeah, very good. I'm happy that we finally got the full team together and raring to go.
Okay, so let's just go straight into it, shall we? Obviously, we've all been talking about the game on Sunday. Everyone's been talking about it for the last few days. So, look, let's just go straight into it. I mean, what I really want to do is ask your opinions, guys, of where it actually went wrong, right? I mean, was it the lineup? Was it the players not just delivering on the day? Because a lot of us were saying that this lineup was the right lineup, right? Or is it simply that he doesn't have the personnel required? I'm going to chuck this over to Lee first to break his duck with us. So, Lee, tell us what you think, mate. You saw the game Sunday. I've seen some of your interviews.
Well, thank you very much. You know what I mean? Well, first of all, it all went wrong. It went wrong in the transfer window because we didn't get the players that we wanted. Simple as that. You know, we didn't get rid of the players that we needed to get rid of. And we've still got the same players that are going to continue to let us down until they go. I honestly think, and this is not a criticism of Mikel Arteta. I think he's going to be a top coach, but he's going to make mistakes because he's learning. And I just think that at this moment in time, he's just too inexperienced for these players, because they're not good enough. If he had the right players in there, I think he'd do okay. But I look at it, and I think that he's going to have it tough, and I think we're going to be in for some bumpy rides along the way. You know. Everything about Sunday to me was disappointing. I was really pleased with the lineup. I don't know how you guys feel. I thought, well, at last it was an exciting lineup. And then he doesn't play the sort of players or the system that I thought that he would play. Very, very cautious again. And I don't know. I just feel that Mikel Arteta at this moment in time is just caught in between two stools. I think that he's too scared to lose games at the moment, and I think that's affecting his way he's playing. But also you have to say that players are letting him down. I think that, you have a look at Lacazette. I'm desperately hoping that he'll do really well, but he just misses the chances when it really matters. You know, Vardy had one chance on Sunday, bang, it's a goal, and that's a difference. And I just feel that the players, unfortunately, are not quite good enough to play for Arsenal, and that's how I feel.
So you think it's a personnel issue at this stage, right? So, I mean, we'll crack on with that in a bit.
Yeah.
Turkish.
Yeah, 100%.
You saw it, bro.
100%.
I don't listen. You don't need me on this show anymore. Like Lee's here. Lee's from Arsenal here. I'm telling you, everything he said. I wish I wrote it down and said it back to you guys now, because it is the transfer.
Well, we just got him, and you're going. You're not going anywhere, mate. You just carry on.
It's a good transfer. You've improved. You brought quality in. That's all you need to do.
Something Arsenal need to maybe learn about us as well.
You got to get rid of the dead wood, you know. But listen, it's exactly that. It went wrong in the transfer window. You know, and I'm someone that keeps on banging on about it, and it has got boring. It's got boring for people listening to me. It's got boring for me saying it. You know, it's not the first transfer window we haven't done well, and it won't be the last. I look back at transfer windows gone, and we've probably only been excited by one transfer window in the last 15 years, and that's the Nicolas Pepe transfer window last season. It brought some excitement, but in the end, reality hit straight away for Unai Emery and for us. And the same reality is hitting Arteta now. I'm like Lee, I'm like you lot. I think the team that he put out looked good on paper. In a free, I'd rather a Saka in the middle or a Willian in the middle, but I understand it. You know, you wanted some more assurance. Okay, cool. That's what you wanted to do. But on the pitch, it didn't translate to the performance everyone might have expected off the back of a Thomas Partey signing. But we can't run away with a Thomas Partey signing and act like he is going to fix all of our problems, like we thought Pepe might fix the problems we had last season on the wings. He didn't. And Partey won't either. Alone, they can't do nothing. And you look back at points dropped this season, let's say Liverpool game, Man City game, and Leicester game. It's similar names coming into it. Lacazette has let us down with finishing. In the Liverpool game, he let us down at 2-1. He could have brought the game back to 2-2. The Leicester game, he could have made it 1-0. Then you look at Bellerin. He was at fault for 3 of the goals against Liverpool. He was at fault for 1 of them against Man City. You look at Mustafi the other day. You look at Xhaka against Leicester. All have a part to play. And what's the trend with all of those? They was here since Wenger has been here. We haven't got the deadwood out quick enough. We haven't made that transition quick enough. On top of them 4 players, we've still got an El Nene who's come back into the side from the Wenger era. You know, how are we meant to shake off the ghost of the past if we continue bringing them back into the squad? And with Mustafi offering him a year extension. For what? Resale value. We haven't been able to sell him anyway. There is no value there. So I don't understand why we'd offer him a new contract. You know, it still stinks of the same old Arsenal issues in the boardroom. So personnel-wise, for me, don't get me wrong, Arteta has made some, you know, some easy issues to be called out. William being false 9, with the formation now Partey's coming. But in my opinion, he can only work with the tools and resources he has, similar to Emery. And they let him down, and they will let Arteta down.
So you're saying personnel, you're saying he's inherited the problems, and obviously we haven't been able to get rid of a lot of the deadwood. And personally, I think as well, I probably tend to agree with you guys. He has made some mistakes, yes, 100%. Before we go over to Shaheen, Aaron Benjamin, he's given us a donation, $4.99. Great panel, looking forward to this. Thank you, Aaron, for coming on again. You're always here, mate. Shaheen, you've heard what the 2 guys below you have had to say. I mean, obviously we've got them on here because we know they're straight shooters. They say it how it is. What's your opinion?
I have to agree with them. The result, obviously, we lost, so the players didn't perform. But I was just going to ask you guys: do you think it's got something to do with the fact that Lacazette has come in, fantastic start to the season, 3-3, and then he's dropped? And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, why is he not performing? So I think it's a mixture of a few different things. I've got a theory in terms for what is happening in Arsenal right now, which I will go into later. But I agree with the guys that the personnel is not good enough. You know, the midfield, there was nobody to play. I thought Ceballos would have maybe played a bit of a creativity role. He didn't. And it was, again, flat. You can have the best players in the world playing up front, but if there's nobody feeding them, then they're not going to be able to do much. And I think most teams have by now kind of figured out Aubameyang, where most things tend to be going down the left from Arsenal. And if you've got somebody at the back who can cover the run, you more or less nullifying the threat. Also, another thing I thought Brendan Rodgers came to the game with a plan, and his plan worked. I didn't see a plan as such for us, or at times we couldn't deal with what was happening. As soon as, I don't know if you noticed, as soon as Mustafi came on, Vardy came on as well, because he knew that he's going to get a chance with Mustafi, and he didn't play off Gabriel, he played off Mustafi because he knows what's occurring there. Again, you got to ask, as the guys said, you got to go back to the transfer dealings and say, well, we've got I think it's 7 or 8 centre backs at the club. One of them is not even included in the squad. One of them, we spent almost £30 million that he can't get a game, and he was supposed to be coming in and hit the ground running. And then we again on a position that we're relying on Mustafi, we're offering him contracts that he's rejecting. Shkodran Mustafi rejecting Arsenal Football Club because he wants to walk away somewhere and get a free contract.
Yeah. Well, I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, look, I mean, looking at the game, right, the way it's set up, obviously, Leicester set up the block. They were looking for a smash and grab. We know that. Brendan Rodgers is a smart guy. He had a limited selection because of some injuries. So, what is Arteta overcomplicating it, guys? Aubameyang, he's a lot of people saying, oh, he scored loads of goals from the left, right? So then he's played him on the right. But then for me, he's a striker. We've got wingers. We've got quite a few wingers. Why are we not playing him down the middle? And then more importantly as well, down the midfield, we seem too rigid. Everyone's sort of staying in the same area. Ceballos looked off the pace. He didn't look fit. We don't have anyone sort of breaking through the lines and making late runs. And Xhaka was kind of playing centre back, left centre back, midfield. I mean, Lee, you saw it. What do you think, and how are we going to get around it?
Yeah, just before that, I do remember Scott McGuinness, by the way. Yeah, good lad. You know what I mean? Spurs fan, though, but we won't go too much into that. But yeah, good lad. I hope Scott's all right. See, he's all right. Good lad, very good lad. Listen, I think I'm going to go on about Ceballos a bit here, because I think that Ceballos has been probably Arsenal's best midfield player over the last sort of 10, 12, 20 games, if you include last season as well. Outstanding in the cup final. He's had one bad game and everybody's getting onto him, you know, and this is the trouble with he's had one bad game, you know, and there's players in the team that have had 15 and they're still playing. So, you know, this is the problems at the moment. You know, I look at it with Bellerin, for instance. I don't think Bellerin played that bad on Sunday, if I'll be honest. And I don't think it's been as bad as what people are making him out. But ultimately, he seems to be getting games left, right, and centre. What doesn't matter, whatever happens. And I look at Maitland-Niles and I think, well, hold on a minute. Maitland-Niles has burst into the England team, which he can't burst into the Spanish team, by the way. What's going on there? What it seems to me, there's one rule for one rule for another, and that's what worries me. I also think that the biggest problem with Mikel Arteta, and look, this is not, I'm not having a go at Mikel Arteta. I understand at this moment he's inexperienced. And when you're an inexperienced manager and things don't go right on one game, you tend to panic and go, I better change it. I better do this. You know, if you ever look at other managers, the top managers in their time, the Fergusons, the Wengers, you know, even I don't like to mention the one that's down the road. They kept the constant of playing the same team all the time because they believed in what they were doing. And believed in the system that they was playing, and they believed in the style that was playing. I get this feeling now, which is worrying me, that Mikel Arteta doesn't believe in the style, doesn't believe in the players, so he keeps chopping and changing it. Because why keep chopping and changing it? I look at about, you know, if you go back to the beginning of the FA Cup final and the League Cup, this is the difference. We played against teams in the FA Cup semi-final final that let's be honest, boys, were better than us. So we had to play a system that we can not go toe-to-toe with them, a system that we can beat them, and that may perhaps be defensive in that. But when you play at home, that changes. That changes completely. And we're not playing at Wembley now in a neutral ground in a cup final. We're playing at home where teams will come and defend. And that's what's happened with Sheffield United. That's what's happened with West Ham. And that's what happened with Leicester. Those 3 games, nothing's changed, only the defeat. The reason it's changed because Leicester had someone up front that could finish. If you look at the game against West Ham have had chances and missed them, and so did Sheffield United. The fact of the matter is that we will get caught out against teams like this because if we've got teams that have got a good striker. And that's why I fear, you know, people go like, oh, when we've got Aston Villa next time, we've got some top players, like, you know. I think I've lost you. Hold on a minute, boys.
No, I'm still here. Is everyone still here?
Yeah,
we got you, Lee.
Yeah. So I don't know what's saying at me. I don't know what. Yeah. So we've got Aston Villa coming up. They've got some players. Aston Villa have got players coming up that can hurt us. And this is what I'm saying about Mikel Arteta. I don't think he has the complete and utter faith of the players. That's why he's being a little bit overcautious. I felt he was far too overcautious in game against Leicester. Leicester, I'm not saying they're there for the taking, but they had players missing. Go in there and steamroll them. But he was too cautious with the midfield settings and things like that. I think he's got and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I also think that you've got to start building partnerships around football teams. Whenever you played, when I played midfield, I had a centre midfield player that played alongside me, and you get used to the way he's playing. So if he's pushing forward, you know to drop in. If you've gone out wide, he comes in. You get understanding of how to play with each other. Central defenders, the central defensive partnerships. It's been a joke. 1 minute it's Tierney is playing there. The next minute it's Louise. Then it's Gabriel. Left Gabriel out against Liverpool, by the way, which is a mind-boggling situation. So get a partnership. If it doesn't necessarily. So this is what it doesn't necessarily mean. He's the best centre half. It's not about that. It's what one will partner Gabriel the best. Now, if that's Mustafi or whoever it is, then have faith in it. And then it comes on to loyalty of players. Mustafi, for instance, I've got nothing against Mustafi. I thought he'd done exceptionally well at the end of last season until he got injured. But this is a guy that's turned around and said, I don't want to play. Basically, I'm not signing a new contract. I don't want to be here when my contract finishes. For whatever reason, will be financial gain or whatever, don't matter, right? Oh, there he is, put into the 25-man squad and played. If I was manager and he's ruthless to certain players that he's been with, i.e. Guendouzi. Look at the ruthlessness of what he is with them. I would say to Mustafi, okay, you don't want to sign. You're not coming in my 25-man squad for the Premier League. You're not coming in my 25-man Europa League squad. You're out. See you in January. If you want to transfer, then fine. But all of a sudden, I don't want to play for you. I'm not signing a new contract. There, within 1 week of training, he's back in the team. Now, what does that tell you? That tells me that we're desperate for, things have not gone right in the transfer window or whatever. Like 2 weeks before the season starts, boys, Rob Holding is being linked with a move to Newcastle on loan, which I think is a good thing. Give him some game time and whatever. All of a sudden, no, we're not going to do that. And it's been a start or thereabout duration of this season until he's got injured. To myself, that doesn't seem like it's coherent. It doesn't seem like things are right behind the scenes, And if you have a look at it when you go to the midfield, I don't know if Mikel Arteta is saying to him like, "Oh, what do you think? Is he showing the ball that something here because I've got all these players?" If you have a look at all this, and I'm not having. Partey's a great signing, by the way. But when you look at Partey, you've got El Neni, you've got Xhaka, right? They all do a similar job, right? Yeah. We've got no one to do that creativity midfield job. Not one. But we went and got Partey and we didn't go and get Aouar. We should have, the priority should have been Aouar first, knowing it. And what really peeves me off about Arsenal is when we can only get one. Why can we only get one? We need more than one player. We needed a midfield player. We needed a centre half as well. And by the way, we need a centre forward. So we need 4 players at this football club to challenge. So the philosophy of the board and everybody around Arsenal is right. Okay, well we go for 1 in 1 transfer window. So by the time we get the next transfers, we get Aouar. The next one transfer we get 4. By that time, we need 2 centre halves because David Luiz has gone past his sell by date. So and so's got injured or whatever. Blah blah blah. You're never ever going to keep up. You're never going to catch up. It's like the old bleating gerbil on the wheel, isn't it? Like you're never going to get off the bloody thing. You know what I mean? You've got to, someone along the line's got to be bold and say, right, this, and that's what I'm going to get. And you could, when people go on about finances, I don't like going on about them down the road, but they've done exactly what we needed to do. They've strengthened in every single area that they were weak. Can Arsenal fans and Arsenal say that about the same? They can't. We're still wanting in certain areas. And they've got the same situation as us. There's no excuses, you know what I mean? They've got what we've got. They've got no fans going into their stadium. They're paying a loan back. Aston Villa were in the Championship for I don't know how many years, spending money. They've got fans going in like, you know. I'm getting problems with my what's name here, by the way, boys.
Don't worry.
I don't know what's going on here with my Wi-Fi, like, yeah.
No, you're right.
Mate. Don't worry. I think you're okay. I think we'll go on to Turkish in a sec. You spot on a lot of the stuff you said, and I think you talk about them down the road. I think the major difference with them down the road is their chairman is very hands-on. Our guy is nowhere to be seen. So, you know, I've noticed that from watching that documentary. But Turkish, you've heard what Lee's had to say. Is Arteta at the moment sort of spreading the wrong ethos in the sense of he's playing players that maybe shouldn't be playing, and then he's dropping players that should be playing, like Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who's not really made a mistake. I saw Lee mention the other day, Martinez had a great run. How was he rewarded? He was sold. You know, what do you think with what Lee's been saying, and what's your verdict on it?
I think there's things that I'll change with what Arteta's doing. Yeah, if you're asking me to judge Arteta alone without looking into everything else around and doing that, you know, you're ignoring the root of the issue. But we will look at Arteta alone and things like playing Ober up top, things like the partnerships that Lee talk about. Because even Nicolas Pepe, since he's come into the club, he hasn't played with a consistent striker or a consistent attacking midfielder or a consistent right back to build any partnership on the pitch. At least Aubameyang has got Kieran Tierney and Saka behind. And over the last year or so, you've seen something form on the left-hand side because you've got quality there. You've got Tierney, Saka, Oba. But Pepe doesn't have the same on the right-hand side because it's been Maitland-Niles at right back, Cedric at right back, Bellerin at right back. We haven't had the AM at times. Sometimes it's Ozil. Now it's Willian, a false nine, Lacazette, Eddie Nketiah, two up top. It changes every moment. This season, we've played El Nene Xhaka, El Nene Ceballos, Ceballos Xhaka. Now we've played all three of them. So we've done every combination we can minus Willock, you know. So Lee is completely right on that. The only thing I look back to is when Arteta first came in, this is not the formation he played with. When he first came in, it was a 4-2-3-1/4-3-3. There wasn't too much of this, you know, reshaping formation throughout the game at different points. There was a clear style of play. There was a clear formation, and things happened that forced him into a change post-lockdown. And that change benefited us in the short term with the FA Cup win. Obviously, we couldn't get top four. But if we didn't change shape post-lockdown, I think we wouldn't have been able to get the FA Cup. I think it worked in our favour. When he first came in, Holding, I think it was, came out and said what he demands of us is we release the ball at the very last moment, which is the right way to play football in the modern day game. When you're being closed down, wait until the very last moment. So a quick pass around and you can beat the line. Very simple. That means he was trying to bring in triangles because that's what it insinuates. But you don't see no triangles on the pitch now, you know. So I think he's alluded to in a press conference before where they said after the Liverpool game, they asked him, and go watch that post-match press conference again. They asked him, "Are you sacrificing the Arsenal way, you know, to set up against these teams?" And Arteta said he laughed and then he said, "Well, there's one thing I want to do, but with the resources and tools I have to do things for the best interests of the club." Now, is he overcomplicating things now? Possibly. But he's only overcomplicating things because he has to try and make it work game by game, match by match. And I think it's definitely easy for us to say we want some more consistency there. I want Maitland-Niles to be starting ahead of Bellerin too. I want a three in the middle, a more fluid formation. But in the end, it all boils down to even if we do that, we might still lose games. We might still drop points. At the end of the day, we haven't got the personnel required to really do what he wants to do. And we haven't got the personnel required to do what another manager will want to do. It doesn't matter who the manager is in place right now. The transfer windows are most important for the club, both outgoing and incoming. And until we grasp one of them by the balls and really, you know, do something about it, we're not really gonna improve on our fortunes come the season. I've seen this story before. I could write this story for you guys, you know. This is not a surprise this season. It's not a surprise to me anyway. But we've seen it unfold before and we will see it unfold again. And don't forget, when Arteta came in, when Emery got sacked, we was told we have no money for a new manager. That's why Arteta came in as one of the cheaper options. So if Arteta gets sacked now, who are we potentially going to get? It's short-sighted to potentially think that we will move on better without Arteta or focus on these little mishaps during the games and whatnot. When in reality, we know it's bigger than Mikel Arteta. It was bigger than Unai Emery, and it was bigger than Arsene Wenger. And if it's bigger than Arsene Wenger, none of these men matter. Mikel Arteta doesn't matter. Unai Emery doesn't matter. If this happened to Arsene Wenger and his legacy was essentially close to ruin at the end, if not ruined for some, who is Mikel Arteta in this situation? But fans need to remain balanced and grounded and understand it's hard without fans at stadiums to make your voice heard. Kroenke, in reality, all we can do is Twitter stuff. And that's not going to help anything. So we've got a long road ahead once again. Every season since Wenger's been sacked, it was 3 years away. 3 years away. We are still 3 years away because we don't take it on the...
I like how you slipped that in how Wenger got sacked.
Yeah, well, whatever. Wenger,
Thanks for the good news.
I don't care what it is.
All right, listen. We'll touch on some of the guys in the chat. Aaron Benjamin's back in here with a super chat. Agree with Turkish and Lee. Only people who speak the truth, and football is about partners all over the pitch, which we have none. I agree with that 100%. Lee's mentioned it. I mean, I like the idea of Mari and Gabriel myself. I don't care if they're left-footed, both of them. I think Lee rightly mentioned the other day, Adams and Keown were both right-footed. And we've got Why Not Sentiment FC. Mustafi spoke on Mesut, so much support like AMN, but he did call him a friend. Tell him, Turkish, the Arsenal roundabout or Arsenal merry-go-round. Yeah, cheers for that Why Not Sentiment. You're here again causing us issues. Thickle fans, yep. Queasy, I think it is. Arsenal had all summer to get rid of Xhaka, Mustafi and the trash and bring in quality. Who was going to buy them? That's what I want to know. Who's going to buy these guys? No one wants them. I expect outgoings in January, says Beast Titan. I don't know who's. Again, I'm going to ask the question: who's going to buy them? I'm going to look at something a little bit controversial here, and I'm going to start this one off with Shaheen. Right?
Let me before you ask me, can I just say something? Because I've got a theory. I've got a little theory as to what's occurring in Arsenal, and I want to put it to three of you because I haven't really talked to you about this either, and I was just thinking about this all day. So bear with me, but I'm really keen to know your opinions on this. I think the root of this problem ultimately is the Kroenkes. And why? If we go back a little bit to when we got Sven Mislintat, and from there, what they have done, which is my concern with Mikel Arteta, is they have got a lot of yes man in. And I'll give you an example. Sven Mislintat was not a yes man. He's a guy who's got a reputation, he knows what he wants, and he only lasted 18 months. Edu was a team manager for Brazil national team. There is no transfer in the national team. So basically, he was just managing the team in terms of going to meeting, fixtures, so and so, so and so. He's got, and now he's a director of football at one of the biggest clubs in the world. So it's a step up for him. Mikel Arteta was a assistant manager, Pep Guardiola. He's fast-tracked into, again, one of the biggest jobs in world football, Arsenal manager. So all of these guys, and remember, when Edu wanted to come in, we were being heavily linked with this guy at Roma, Monchi. Now, again, he's another guy that will demand money from the owner. He will stand up to the owner. He will say, this is what I want. This is how much you need to bring in. But we went for Edu. So all of these guys are now got jobs that probably, if you told them 2-3 years ago, you're going to be the director of football at Arsenal and you're going to be the manager of Arsenal, they probably would not have believed that. So they are not going to come and rock the boat if they're being told, right, listen, Mikel, this is what we can do in the summer. And we all know Kroenkes, they're not ambitious. They're not going to put the money in. I don't see any of these guys standing up to him and saying, Stan, you need to come out with money. If you don't come out with money, there's going to be a problem. We need money. They'll probably say, oh, okay, no problem. We'll work with what we've got. And we can see the result, because you need to remember, Mikel Arteta now has got the same role as Arsene Wenger used to have. So he's involved in transfers, he's involved in negotiations, contracts, everything. Now, the fact that you sell your number two keeper, and then you don't really, because Bernd Leno is one bad fall, one twist of ankle away from being out for 3-4 weeks, and we've got nobody to come in. And this guy they bought for 1 million, he can't even get a game. So my theory is that the Cronkies have surrounded themselves with a lot of yes man, and they're telling them, right, this is the situation, and nobody's really going to challenge that. Arteta, he lied to fans twice. One, he came out and he said, I need to be supported, so and so. The plane went up at Aston Villa, and then he came out and said, no, everybody's backing me. The owner, Edu, everyone. I've got their backing. Obviously, he has not been backed. The second time is when he came out and he took this Ozil thing on his own. And he said, this is my decision, it's footballing reason, and that's why he's not coming in. So it's just starting to go down the route that us fans who were thinking Wenger is doing. So he's protecting the board by telling us whatever that he needs to say, just protect somebody else. So this is my theory as to what's going on in the Arsenal and the background. And as I said, it ultimately stopped with the Cronkies, but Edu, Arteta, and Vinay, who again, I don't know where he's come from. I've never even heard of him before he's come to Arsenal. None of these guys, to me, they strike me as somebody who would go out on a transfer window and address the situation. Apparently, things are coming out that there's a disagreement between Arteta and Edu over a party an hour where Arteta wanted him and Edu wanted Partey. These are not the sort of noises that you want to hear coming out of your club. This is not things that you want your manager to be doing, especially in his first season. He's inexperienced. A football manager can get away with a lot of things if he's winning. If he's losing and these things are happening, people will start to ask questions. I said this to Lev a few weeks ago. I said Mikel Arteta is 2 or 3 performances away from being heavily questioned. If we go to Man United this weekend and again play a negative team and lose, there's going to be a lot more people asking questions. So this is my theory as to what's happening, and I'm very interested to hear what you guys think of it. Sorry if I went on for a bit.
No, that's all right. To be honest, my first thought, Shaheen, is I understand what you're saying, and Arteta shouldn't become the shield like Wenger became. You know, Emery never became the shield. Emery always told us the truth, in my opinion. But how did that fare for Emery? You know, I think the problem is the fan base, and we oversee the issues and ride the waves of hope. You know, we were told we haven't got money for a manager like Allegri or an Ancelotti or a Simeone. We were told we haven't got money for that. But we've forgotten that now, and we're going to dwell on maybe Mikel Arteta's quotes about, you know, the board are backing me and whatnot. When in reality, can I knock a man for taking on a challenging job? I can't really knock him, because in essence, he could have waited 2 years and got the Man City job just like that with a hell of a lot of money, and it would have been easy going for him. I'm actually impressed that he took the role on. And he also came out and said when Wenger was let go, he was offered the role and he turned it down. So at that time, he turned it down. So something must have changed in between for him to accept it last November. Obviously, COVID happened, and I think that's had a part to play in the change of head coach to manager. I think Arteta probably questioned the board and said, listen, you told me something in December. This is why I've come, and you're not doing it. And they said, all right, well, because of COVID, we have to delay it a year, but we'll give you the manager role so you own the whole issue a bit more, and you can mold it to how you want moving forward. Maybe that was the bit of give and take they did in the summer. But I can't really criticize Arteta too much for becoming the shield, because when Unai Emery laid it on a plate, 1st of January 2019, we have no money to buy players. We can only loan players. We turned on him as well. You know, he told us we have no money. He told us he wanted Partey 2 years ago. He wanted Fabinho 2 years ago. He got Torreira, the man we just let go within 2 years of signing him. Partey, we danced to the hills about Partey this summer. Unai Emery wanted him 2 summers ago. So it's like, as much as I would want Arteta to come out and tell us the truth, tell us that, okay, we was expected to spend this much, but this happened and impacted this, and we could only spend this much. But in reality, it's up to the fans to open their eyes and remain on the main issue. And the main issue isn't Arteta or him taking the blame. Like, the main issue was never Arsene Wenger taking the blame. The reason that became such a big thing is because Kroenke used Wenger's affinity and emotional attachment with the fan base and vice versa to get to where he was 10 years later. He used it and he abused it. And in the end, it turned on Wenger for a lot of fans, including myself, you know. And with Arteta and Emery, all I've asked for is honesty. You know, Emery gave it to us. It seems like Arteta might not be giving it to us like Emery. I won't call him a liar yet, but it doesn't matter. Lie, truth, you know, it's all been exposed in the past 2-3 years. We've got an inexperienced manager, an inexperienced technical director in Edu, inexperienced COO in Vinay, and an inexperienced owner of the club in terms of soccer. He doesn't know fuck all about football. So we've got inexperience from top all the way to bottom at this club. So in my opinion, they're not really... It doesn't matter what we do. We sack Arteta, we're not getting Allegri. We can't afford Allegri. And even if we could afford Allegri, that means we can't afford the transfers Allegri's going to want.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Because even if people like Monchi, Allegri, Pochettino, even if they will even, I genuinely think the club even spoke to Jose Mourinho before, and probably he was asking for. He was like, okay, how much are you going to give me because you need investment here, and he didn't like what he was told. I just want to clarify something. I hear what you said, Turkish. I'm not an Arteta guy. I didn't say you are. You said I am, by the way. I just want to clarify. I'm not Arteta out guy. I think he should be given the whole season. But there are certain signs. That are a little bit concerning. So that's where I am on it. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he changes. But that's where I am on it.
Hey, we were permanently concerned as Arsenal fans. We're always concerned.
Yeah.
There's always something to be concerned about.
I mean, Lee mentioned hamster wheel. I feel like a hamster wheel as a fan. Before I got another juicy turn to it then, Shaheen, if you want to go this route. Yeah, just hold that thought for a sec. Guys, smash the likes, yeah, and turn your notifications on. Subscribe if you haven't already. These shows are going to be coming thick and fast through the next few weeks. So show your support. I'm going to add a little bit more fuel to this fire then, Shaheen. Now you've gone this route. Obviously, Arteta has inherited a lot of these problems, and I'm not an Arteta out guy at all. I think he deserves a proper crack at this. You've got to be logical. I know what it's like. I've played football for years. I know it takes time to turn things around. It took Klopp several seasons, but where I am concerned is he's inherited a lot of these issues, including, we're gonna say it, the name Ozil, right? We're lacking creativity. Now, I'm not an Ozil fanboy. I think the game is phasing players like him out. But right now, we're in a situation, and it's been created by the club, right? We're in a situation where we don't have the personnel. We're lacking creativity. I can't see how many combinations he plays in that midfield. I can't see it changing. I'm not knocking Ceballos, by the way. I think he was just off the pace that last game. I don't think he was fully fit. He didn't look fully fit. But for me, he's an 8. He's not a 10, right? So then if we're struggling, now there's been rumors coming out of the camp that Ozil's training and he's still one of the best players in training. Now, if I'm a player and I'm looking at that, let's be honest here, we've got an abundance of forward players. Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe, Willian, Saka, right? But there's a problem. They're not being picked out, and we're relying on balls over the top through fullbacks. We're relying on our most dangerous outlet was Luis. Now, is there a chance? I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying it either way. Is there a chance now? They've looked at this in training. They realize there's a problem, and they're saying to themselves, guys, this isn't a footballing decision. He should be playing. And is that starting to create a divide? I mean, Mustafi turning down a contract. I mean, I wouldn't have offered him a contract anyway, but he's turning down a contract. There was a problem with Guendouzi. There's a problem with a few others in there. Is this issue maybe causing some sort of unrest within the camp, especially if someone like Arteta comes out and takes the blame for it and it's not his fault? Lee, what do you think?
Well, listen, you've got to understand that footballers are human beings, and Mesut Ozil, whether you like him or not, is probably a friend to a lot of those guys. Now, if your friend is being unfairly treated, you're going to not. I'm not saying you're not going to be happy about it, but one thing is you can't come out and say anything because you think, well, footballers are very selfish as well, by the way. You know what I mean? I ain't going to come out and say nothing because I don't want it happening to me. So there's a little bit of that, I think, and as you can see, I think there's a problem with man management. because you've got somebody that's 21-year-old kid like in Guendouzi, for whatever reason, sometimes you have to say to yourself, put your arm around him or something like that. Another one that's been thrown to the scrap heap, if you like. And then you have a look at someone like Torreira, who's probably not good enough in my opinion. But did he ever do anything wrong? I felt he'd give his 100%, put his body on the line every game. Broke his ankle playing for the Arsenal. So he was bombed out. So there's lots of issues that you can look at from that point of view. I also, when you're going back to the ball and everything, I think that there's been some good. This not go away from the fact there's been some good signings. Martinelli was a very, very good signing, for what price it was. And also, of course, Gabriel coming in. Whoever found that one out deserves a pat on the back. He's been outstanding for us. But you have to look at other sides of it. Pepe, for instance, people go on about Pepe 72 million. Yep, he was 72 million, but we also got rid of Iwobi for 35 million. So who come through the ranks. So if you offshore with it, that we spent 40 million on Pepe. But with Pepe at this moment in time, I do believe, and I've said this before now, he's not Mikel Arteta's man. He's not his signing. Because if he was, I think with him at the moment, we've got serious lack of creativity, as we've said. But Liverpool, I don't like comparing teams in Liverpool. Liverpool haven't got the creativity in midfield, but they have wide players, and the top three do the business. Plays, very, very well. Pepe at the moment isn't doing the business. We brought in Willian, the shadow of the player who was at Chelsea last year, an absolute shadow. He's done nothing. So Mikel Arteta's putting these players out there, and these players are letting him down. But we've been saying that for so many times. And it's, also in the transfer market, you can't keep just stacking up players if they don't want to go. And there is a key that with the transfer window at the moment and with everything else, we've got to get rid of these players. Now, the Mesut Ozil situation, it should have been sorted out months ago, And let's not kid ourselves about Mesut Ozil. At some stage in the summer, he would have been told that he is surplus to requirements at Arsenal. Right? It hasn't happened a week ago when this Premier League 25 come out. It was at some stage he would have been told, "You're not in the plans." He chose to stay, which is his prerogative, by the way. He has a contract. He is in his rights to say, "Yeah, I'm happy to stay as my on that contract." So what he's basically done, it's a game of tennis. He's put the ball straight back down. Arsenal served an ace, and he's returned it. Bosh, take that. So Arsenal now's next move is to say, right, well, we'll buy you out. We'll sell you out. Try and do a deal with him on that. Ultimately, they've not been able to do that. So Arsenal then should come out and say, right, okay, we owe you 18 million. Take your 18 million when we tear up the contract. And they did it with Mkhitaryan. West Ham have done it with Wiltshire. It can be done. The fact of the matter is it's not been done. And because of this and whatever ways again, wrong management, now I think it's going to have an effect on the players.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
You have to understand from a human being's point of view, right? Yeah, that if you're going into training and you're seeing your mate froze out, it ain't going to do you no good. It's oh look, Mesut's over there, poor Mesut, and it makes you start thinking of things. If he is not there, there's a good old saying, soon forgotten, and they take him out of the situation, so then you can focus on what the plan is. Every game he comes in for try. Now, for instance, they're going to say, I don't know how it's working, but all right, we've got a left side. Come on, boys. Luckily, hopefully, none involved. When you pick a team, there's always one left at the end there. You know what I mean? And it feels like shit, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? Right? So, Mesut, you better go and stand over in the corner. It's not good for team morale. It's not good for Mesut Ozil. It's not good for the players, and it's certainly not good for the fans and everything there. The club have had a duty to sort that out, and again, they've failed. They failed.
Yep.
You know, people can go on about Martinelli, just quickly going on about Martinelli. Everybody's going, oh, it's great. Martinelli's back in training now, but he can't. But don't get excited, boys, because he's not in the 25 man squad, and he's not. So he won't be back till January. Okay, but when Mikel Arteta first got McKenna, he wasn't playing him. He didn't get games. You know, but then all of a sudden he's playing every game. There's questions around you can ask from all over at this moment in time. It's a whole. But honestly, lads, if you're not managing the team properly from the top, how do you expect it to be managed properly from the bottom? I'm not saying that Mikel's at the bottom, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's like a house of cards. It's a house of cards.
Yeah, because
that's true. Go on, Turkish.
Ole probably came into United and wanted rid of Lukaku, yeah, and they got rid of Lukaku. Same way with Chelsea, they realized with Morata, you know, they made a mistake, and a couple of years later they got rid of him. I can make the same argument with Bakayoko, for example. Everyone thought he's a big money signing, he's going to come shore up the midfield. No, it didn't work. 2 years later, you know, move on, loan. We don't do that. Managers come in and ask the board for maybe let's sell this player, and make the money. We don't do it, you know. That's potentially why he got the head coach changed to manager. And with Ozil, we are kidding ourselves if we can link this creativity issue to Ozil being missing, because Ozil's creativity has been on the downhill slope since Arsene Wenger. He was dropped by Arsene Wenger initially. He was dropped by Unai Emery. He's been dropped by Arteta. He's 31 years old with 8 months left of his contract. He is not our savior, you know, but it seems like Arteta will die on the Ozil sword as well, like Emery did as well, because the pressure that builds when you're not playing Mesut Ozil and you're not creating enough chances is immense because of his popularity, his following, his fan base. And when you add to that all of this behind the scenes PR, you know, it's not looking good. And at the end of the day, in my opinion, between Arteta and Mesut Ozil, at the beginning of the season, Ozil tweeted about, and I've mentioned it before, I'm fit and raring to go, but I don't pick the side. That to me, if I'm his manager, that's you know, drawing the lines and saying it's me versus you now. And if I am the manager, I'm taking the same stance. I'm removing you from the side. Lee talked about being ruthless earlier on. And I think if a player does come out and actually challenge you in the public eye, like Mesut Ozil did with Arteta, forget everything else for a sec. Like he did with Arteta with that tweet, then handle it in a ruthless manner. And I believe that's been done. I believe it's the right thing to do. It might not necessarily look like it, but it's easy to say we lack creativity because of him. Did you not see the Sky Sports article about him? Oh, look at that, yeah? Last season, he started 18 games. Our win percentage was 27%, 1.3 points per game. Whereas the games he didn't start, our win percentage was 45. We made more points per game. Average goals was the same, and average goals against was more when he played. This is from last season. The games he started were more often than not under Mikel Arteta, not under Emery towards the end of his collapse. So that can't be linked to these stats. So we're so short-sighted at times that we forget that Mesut Ozil is done out here as a footballer. Forget everything else and all the politics. He's never been a 350k player. He's on the last of his contract. He's not in the squad. Move on now. We need to just move on.
I agree.
Hold on. Yeah, go on, Shane. Go on.
So I agree with everything that Turkish said. You know, the contract was given out of desperation because we lost Sanchez. We couldn't have lost Ozil. I do, however, agree with Lee on the fact that if you don't want to deal with this Mesut Ozil scenario, you don't want to. Why have him on a training pitch every day, training with your first team, and then you got the Arsenal Twitter page doing shout out for his birthday?
You see the contract, you know, the Athletic do some very good articles. I actually recommend subscribing. I think they're £1 a month now, but the Athletic came out and delved into it, and they said contractually, Ozil has to be allowed to the training ground and be a part of the team. That's in the contract.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah. So things like that I understand. But like Lee said, we should have sorted it out in the summer. We should have sorted Ozil out 2 years ago. It shouldn't have come to this stage. We've dilly-dallied so long and we haven't played it well at the football club. We've tarnished our name, you know, as well as himself. Sorry,
I had a player. Sorry. Well, when I was playing like semi-pro, like we had a player on a contract for a year, right? Wanted to leave. Okay. When you sign on a semi-pro contract, you sign 1 year contract with an option of another year. So what happens is after that year, if both parties agree to leave, you can leave. But if one agrees to sign and the other don't, you still sign it. Like so you still that goes on to the agreement. Do you understand what I'm saying? So so basically, like it comes to the end of I'm not going to mention who it was. One of my mates. The year's contract comes up. The option of the next contract of the year comes up. He wants to leave. The club say no. Okay, so he still has to that year's because it's a year's option. So basically, he didn't play football for a year, right? But he had to come in to train every Tuesday and Thursday. Like he wasn't involved in the squads and all that, like, but he come in and had to train. And then because for whatever reason they wouldn't pay it up and blah 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 blah. Eventually, after about 6 months, the club caved in and said that we're because the club, as soon as he come into training on that Tuesday and Thursday, the club had to pay him his money. Right, and that's exactly what's happening here. Like he comes in, does everything that he's told to do, and the club has to pay his money. Now, if he doesn't turn up, the club will go, "Oh, great, we can fine him a week's wages and whatever." Like but my mate kept turning up on a Tuesday, turning up on a Thursday, come Saturday, come Tuesday nights we've been didn't play, and then eventually after about 6 months they said, "Okay, you can go." But it was that is how it is, and that's what Mesut Ozil's got. Mesut Ozil's got a contract where he can go as long as he trains and turns up on time, he will get paid, and it's as simple as that. And that happens from League
Which doesn't help the situation, I think,
all the way through. All the way through.
I'm not saying he's
not going to not turn up. No, we know he's not the answer. But what we're saying is, it does put how can I say it? If he's your mate, you don't want to see that happening to your mate. Your mate stopping. He wants to play football, and you're not being allowed to play football. Listen, what happens is, when you come to year's contracts finish, you negotiate. You say, look, I want to stay or I don't, and you try. The club then finds a way. You go into a meeting and say, I don't want to play no more. I've got a good offer coming over from here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously transfer fees, even at non-league football, come into it, but you don't want to sign it. You get an agreement. And if the agreement is that the club say, no, we're going to have to, we want you to stick around for that year, then you turn around and say, all right, I'm going to stick around for this year, but that's it then. I'm not going to sign no more. Fair enough. And you get it. But then as a player, you put your heart and soul into it. Mesut Ozil has a contract, and he's turned around and said, I'm going to honour it. And it's up to the club to negotiate to that. Not Mesut Ozil. Mesut Ozil ain't going to have to negotiate it. It's down to the club. And they've not done it. So I don't blame Mesut Ozil if he tweets and does whatever. Good luck to him.
Lee, what I'm trying to get at, though? I mean, as I said, I'm not saying he's the answer. Like we've already said, we don't think he is the answer long term. But the situation that's been created now by the club and what Arteta's inherited is the more we have problems on the field with regards to lack of creativity and this, that, and the other, the more pressure it's starting to put on him in the sense of, let's be honest, there's a big fan base for Ozil. He's, as I said it millions of times now, is the 5th most influential media as a player. The more he's hanging around and the less chances we're creating and the forward line isn't working right now, the more pressure it's also starting to mount on Arteta for this decision. So that's where I was going 100%. At with this. But look, do you see what I mean? So look, we'll
even his character.
The chats in a minute. Go on, Lee. Yeah.
Even his character.
I totally agree, 100%.
He's not the type of player where I'd look at and say, if we gave him another chance, he's going to come in 100% heart, passion, sweat, blood, tears. Or will he come in and act like he's the boss on the pitch because, yes, we've bowed down to him and, yes, he's back in the squad? Which one do you think Mesut Ozil is going to come back like, even if we was to allow him back? He's going to come back like the entitled player he feels like he is. I want a player that really wants to play football. He doesn't really want to play football because if he did, like Lee said, he would have left in the summer when he was told this is it for you, mate. But he didn't. He drew out his sword, and the club had to draw out theirs, and here we are.
Great. Well, let's look at some of the more of the chats, please, Shaheen. We'll go through a few more chats, and then we'll go on to the next thing. So we got Beast Titan. Ozil was training today. Man's getting his muscles in check for Fortnite. Yeah. Flo Zanetti. How you doing, Flo? Arteta is done out here, lads. Other managers are figuring him out. Oh, Flo, I think it's a bit too soon to say. It's a bit unfair. They're not all these players. He's doing the best he can. Aaron Benjamin with $4.99. Stick a little penny on that, Aaron. I'm only joking. We should judge Arteta end of season. The decision to leave out Ozil or not play certain players could cost him his job. Interesting. Okay, look, we're going to crack on with what's coming up now as well. Beast Titan, will come back to you. We've got Dundalk tomorrow, and more crucially, United away, which is going to put a lot of pressure on Arteta. Seeing what we've all discussed now and what we've been seeing, and we've all agreed that maybe a lack of personnel is a major issue for Arteta. Tomorrow, do we have the strength in depth? I mean, it's only Dundalk, you'd like to think. Do we have the strength in depth to rest a load of players tomorrow? And then how are we going to get around, in your opinions, how are we going to get around this lack of creativity moving on to Old Trafford? What would you guys do? I'm going to chuck this out to Shaheen first, and then we'll go on to the two experts down below. Shaheen, what would you do?
I'm terribly sorry, Lev. I was just a little bit distracted with putting some of the comments up on the screen. Could you kindly repeat the question?
You ain't listening.
Are you taking the piss? Are you taking the piss? And you're just clicking. I'm so exciting and interesting. You're clicking through the chats and reading chats and not even listening to anything I'm saying.
No, I wasn't reading them. I was just trying to put something on the screen. I'm terribly sorry.
You know what? We'll talk about this after, yeah? Me and you. We'll talk about this after, me and you, yeah?
My apologies.
So what I was saying is we've all suggested, yeah, there's obviously a lot of personnel when it comes to the creativity aspects and what Arteta's trying to do. We've got some big games coming up. I mean, I say Dundalk is a big game, but look, tomorrow we've got a game. Is he going to rest players? And then moving on to Old Trafford, what can we do to address this situation, and how could we set up to maybe counteract this issue with creativity? There you go. You got it?
Yes, I've got it. Thank you very much. Thank you kindly.
Cheers, Shane.
For starters, if this new keeper, I think Ronaldsson his name is, and Saliba, if they don't start the game tomorrow, I'll be really concerned about what these boys did, what Saliba needs to do. Or maybe Smith Rowe, Willock, Nelson, because they come in, it's at home. With all due respect to the team, but prior to this Europa League group, I haven't heard of them. So it's a good opportunity for these guys to come in. And it's a good opportunity for us to see William Saliba as well, what he's like. I think it's going to be a problem for the defense because I think Luiz is out. So we only got 3 centre-backs that are fit. I think Gabriel will probably start, Kolasinac. But I want to see the youngsters come in because I think Arteta came out after last game, or I think it was a press conference. He said that some of the players were suffering from fatigue. I mean, about 7-8 games in the season, and he's saying the players are fatigued is also another concern. But I'd like to see youngsters start because Leicester game was big game after our loss to Man City. So Leicester was big. Man United Sunday is now a lot bigger than those 2 games because we can't go to Man United and lose. I know we normally go there and don't do well, but we can't go there and lose, and after losing to City and Leicester. So he needs to, as Lee said earlier, he needs to think that, right, I'm going to go out there. I mean, look, Man United are not really a team that you will fear and you think, oh, we're going to go and deal with these. They're going to be good. I think if we go out there and put it on them, I think we might be able to get a result there. Maguire and Lindelof, if I'm Aubameyang or Lacazette playing up front, I'll fancy my chances. Now, whether he plays an attacking team to go out there at Old Trafford and has a real goal, that is a real question. And that's what I would like him to do. play a good solid base, and just go all out on attack. I don't know if Willian is injured or not, but if Willian is injured, just play Pepe. He's going to play Aubameyang on the left, we all know, and just play Lacazette. Just three of them go and make sure there is enough creativity for these guys to thrive on and be fed. And I just think we need to go to Man United and just put it out on them. That's the only way we're going to go. If you go there and sit back, we're going to lose. And that's my opinion.
You won't see Saliba tomorrow, by the way. He's not signed up or registered for the Europa.
Yeah,
so you won't see him tomorrow, bro.
That's another thing that really gets on my nerves. Yeah, is for a club that cries out for money. We don't have money. We can't do this. You go and spend £30 million on a defender. Then you're not going to register him to play. He comes in. There's issues. Could we not have top up this money, because we spent 30 million on him, 8 million on David Luiz. So could we not have topped up this 38 million pound by another 5 or 6 million and gone and got someone like Upamecano or a really established Premier League defender to come in and contribute? We spent 30 million pound. It's been what, 2 seasons ago we spent it to sign it. It's not his fault. We've gone out to sign him. He still hasn't kicked the ball except one game. See, it's things like this that it gets on your nerves as an Arsenal fan.
Well, I mean, there's not much we can really do about that right now. So, Lee, how do you see us getting around, especially at the Old Trafford United game? How do you see we can get around this lack of creativity?
Listen, I think somebody said it in the chat as well. Like it's small margins, you know. If we could play, we should have got a point at at Liverpool, playing that sort of way. I see us playing that sort of way as well, keeping it tight, making sure we don't concede, and then hoping that one of the creative players will bring up a bit of magic. And the fact of the matter is, none of them have. Whether it be Willian, Pepe, Aubameyang, Lacazette, none of them have contributed in that fact. I think we still have to go that way. Tomorrow, anybody that plays tomorrow, I don't think will play on Sunday. I think it'll be a complete young side tomorrow. Like if you can't beat Dundalk at home, like an Irish part-time, so you don't deserve to be in the team. So that's how it is for me. No, I know, but that's how I feel. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, these players have got to start. The likes of Willett. What's happened to him lately? He's just got dropped off as far as I'm concerned. We look really good. Maitland-Niles, a chance for him to really perform. You know, I look at Smith Rowe. About time that he gets a game. You know what I mean, and plays. Eddie up front. You know, I expected him to get an hat-trick tomorrow. These are fit, and if they don't, then you can turn around and say, well, these guys are not good enough. You know, and then you're going to bring in the ones against Manchester United, and I do expect a reaction. But the fact of the matter is, Manchester United now are playing well. They've started to hit form. You know, getting results. It's going to be a tough game. I don't see Arsenal winning this game. At fourth defeat, I think it's incoming because we're just not good enough to go to these big teams, defend properly, and win games. We can go on about the defence because the defence has improved under Mikel Arteta 100%, but we're still missing chances. We're not ruthless enough up front. That's been happening, you know, and with too much reliability on one man. Somebody else has got to step up and score goals, whether that be Pepe, Willian, or whoever. I think there's too much pressure being put on Aubameyang, if I'll be honest. But we've got to go there, defend like Trojans, and get something. And I think that, you know, that could well happen. You know, anything can happen in a game of football. The ref can make a mistake, send somebody off, whatever, like, you know. But ultimately, you know, we're not good enough to go to. And the record speaks for itself. We've gone to Liverpool and lost. We've gone to Manchester City, lost. We go to all these teams after lockdown. Tottenham lost. All these games, we're always continue to lose because of the fact of the matter is that we're not good enough.
Turkish, you heard what they've had to say. How would you set up, bro? How would you go about this?
Yeah, just Dundalk to get out of the way. I agree with Lee, Reece Nelson, Emil Smith Rowe, Eddie, Willock. Just throw them out there and let's see. Because Dundalk should be a walkover, whichever 11 we pick out of the 25-man squad. So seeing past that one, Man United, I think United are a different beast to City and Liverpool. Yeah, we can attack United, we can get at them. Even this season, you could argue we should have got at Man City and Liverpool a bit more. So I do expect and I hope that we do go at Man United. Ole is, he's at a time now at that United stage where it's hit and miss for him, and the pressure is building. There's no direction there, and more often than not, recently he's playing two DMs in Fred and Matic over a Van der Beek or a Pogba. So it'll be interesting to see how he sets up. But I think we need to utilize Saka in the attacking midfield position. I think you need to loosen up and go 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, be a bit more attacking. But Saka is key to that. I think Saka is our best attacking midfielder on the books right now. And I'd use Saka in AM. I'd put Willian left wing. I'd put Pepe right wing. And I'd put Ober up top. I think I'm interested to see how that four would work. In the middle, I'd do Partey, Ceballos behind Saka. And I think you got enough talent all around to do something. And then the back line, it picks itself because of injuries right now. Gabriel, Luiz might be back. I would actually go with Maitland-Niles as right back and Kieran Tierney as left back. But we'll see, because it'll probably be Bellerin.
Well, right. So I'm going to read some of these more chats out before we've been emotional, guys. It's flown by, but I'm going to take my time this time. And Shaheen, I hope you're listening to me. Old School Gooner says, Shaheen, get your playing field and banner ready for Kroenke out. Oh, God, not this playing situation again. What else have we got, Shaheen? We've got Red Gilly. He should pick his team for Man United and play none of them tomorrow. If you can't put out a team from the rest of the squad to beat Dundalk, then we're in worse trouble than I think. Yeah, agree with that. Thanks for that, Red Gilly. Any others? We got Aaron Benjamin again, 4.99. This lad, he loves a 4.99. We have to beat Man U. If we play negative team, Arteta has major problems and maybe another plane. Jesus, everyone's asking for this plane now. Got a few others. We got Pramod N. I agree with Shaheen. What did he say? I agree with Shaheen. In my opinion, at least Saliba should have been registered for Europa. I'm thinking we should have kept Luiz for Premier League, protect him as he's 34. We could have bring Luiz to Europa after Jan. You've got a point. Brilliant there. Point. I've got some opinions. Ahmed Kaya. Yeah, it's a good point. I would play all this backup players. They want to start in the Premier League. If they flop, then Arteta has enough argument to sort it out and don't have the pressure to get the young lads in. Yeah, fair enough. And one more. C says Pepe and Saka need to run at Maguire and we could score for you, but only if we are quicker on the ball. And C finally says play Pepe and Uber as strikers and run Maguire. We've done that one. So look, guys, I mean, we're all sort of in agreement, and I'm in agreement with Turkish with regards to Saka playing in that AM role. This is the only solution I can see right now, and maybe with Partey gives us a bit more solidity to be able to do that. So let's keep our fingers crossed for the weekend in particular. I don't expect us to have a problem with Dundalk. Famous last words, guys. It's been emotional. First time we've had the full team together. Lee, brilliant, mate. It's been really great having you here finally. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. No problems. No worries.
Yeah,
thank you.
Enjoyed it. Thank you, Lee. Thank you very much.
And Turkish, loving the look, black and white, fireplace, beard on point, and always getting all your stuff correct, mate. Like, again, you two make an awesome team, and I'm really glad we finally got you both together. Thanks for coming on, brother.
No worries. And it's good, man. I've been looking forward to doing it with Lee for a little while now. So it's finally happened, and me and Lee get along on air, off air anyway. So it's always
we do. Like, house on fire. House on fire.
Yeah.
First time I've seen him smiling in 3 weeks, Lee.
only Lee brings out this smile in me.
Yeah. Cheers for that, Turkish. Thanks, bro. And Shaheen, I love the passion, bro.
Yeah, thank you for the guys, who come on. We hope to do. I know Ali's got commitment next week, Wednesday, so he's not going to be around. But we're hoping to make this a regular show. So support us, guys. Like the video, share. Let's get the numbers going, because I think it's a very interesting podcast. This because we've got a few different point of views coming on, and I think we all agree on some things, but we disagree on certain things, which is what it's all about. There's no point all of us coming here and agree with everybody, with each other on all things. So it's help us grow this podcast and this show.
Yeah, you heard the man. Smash the like, subscribe if you haven't already. You guys in Facebook, Gunner Social, and on Arsenal Lounge Facebook page as well. If you haven't already, come across, subscribe. We've got more of these shows coming thick and fast, and with all the controversy coming in the next few weeks, God knows what these boys are going to be coming up with. So let's see you here next Wednesday. I think we've got a few more shows. Keep your notifications on coming up. I think that's it. Thank you, loungers. I'm Lavanja. This has been the Arsenal Lounge, and it's time for us to see you later.